Hello everyone, Nev here, and today I am doing a VR to Rowan here, and this is hashtag aspirational tarot. Yeah, so I wrote down the prompts for this in my my little Hobonichi thing here, and yeah, so I'm going to just pull out, I pulled out a few decks to just kind of flip through as we're going through this. And I think I'll start off with some of my favorites here, my current favorite combination. And that is the Mars Power Tarot, along with the Rujin Kado. And that means Dragon God cards. Yeah, so I'm just going to pull these out and I'll flip through them while I go through and talk about these prompts here. Okay, so there we go. This is one of my favorite. I think this might be my favorite card in this deck. And I have yet to have bags for these decks yet. They're both too new, and I mean I got this one at the beginning of the year, but this one's very, very new. So I don't have bags for these yet, but I do plan to make some. All right, so so this tag is all about basically our ideal tarot practice, or our ideal tarot practice. And it kind of goes along with a video that I'm going to be putting out, I think in about a week after this, potentially a little bit longer, but yeah, sometime about a week after this is a very similar video that I'm planning to put out, going over my practice. So I guess this is sort of a I don't know, like a preface to that upcoming video. Yeah, so that's kind of my idea going into this, and I just love this combination. Anyway, so there are 5 prompts, though I think the last 2 I'm kind of going to combine into one as one big prompt. So the first one is, what is my ideal number of decks? And I did not think about that before I actually started this video. Man, I love the colors of this combination. It's just really cool. So currently I have, I mean, I don't know the exact number of decks that I have, and I am counting all of my decks, including Lenormand, Oracle, Tarot, all of that. And I think I currently have about 100, which is a lot, you know, and I'm planning on getting up to 20 decks this year. So I mean, my collection is growing for sure, and I'm fine with that, and I'm happy to have my collection grow. You know, I would like to use all or most of my decks. I don't mind having some decks as just collectibles. That's fine. And I have learned about myself through my tarot collection that I don't really like to get rid of decks. Yeah, I'm not one to really declutter. That said, I have limited space and limited funds, and I have a feeling that I may have to downsize some of my collection going forward, especially if I'm going to keep collecting. So I don't know that I have an ideal number, but basically whatever doesn't overwhelm my space. And yeah, so I'm starting to run low on the Dragon Gods, so I think I'm just gonna shuffle these a little bit and put them underneath. Kind of like this little layout too. I put it like this because this deck is a mini deck, so it's quite small. Let me just do this. Okay, there we go. So yeah, so I don't have a number, but you know, I would say probably not more than 200. I mean, that's a lot. So I think I wouldn't want to get much more than 150, but which is saying a lot because I'm going to get 20 decks this year. That's the plan. And so, yeah, anyway. So the next one is ideal storage. And I'm going to pause this real quick and grab my camera off of this tripod so I can kind of show what my storage sort of looks like right now, and I can explain a little better. All right, so pulling up from my table here, I got my tripod right there, and this is kind of my main working desk here, and I look out on my balcony here, and there we go. It's rainy outside right now. So yeah, and here is some ultra space over here. This isn't a room tour, but yeah, and my bookshelves are there with some more ultra type stuff. Now here's the part where it's a little messy because we're still remodeling, so it's not going to look nice. So here we go. And yeah, let me see if I can zoom out here. So I'm still working on that door. And I'm sorry about my sweater right there on the ground, but I am painting that door. And the other side, and I'll show that real quick. Sure, why not? The other side is our kitchen. And I painted this door here. So sorry about the trash can. We don't normally have that there, but yeah, anyway, so I painted this door, and on the other side is going to be it's going to be like galaxy themed, and it's gonna, yeah, and I already started it, so I just have not finished it. And then right there in the center is going to be a Ouija board. Anyway, so this isn't a room tour. Yeah, and this part over here, this is going to change. So showing my storage is, it's a work in progress right now. But to explain, I have a bunch of these basically spice racks. And they're all the same style and same color, the black and like metal wire. And the big decks, there's about 4 that fit in each one. But when I start getting smaller, I can actually put more in there. So my plan in the future is to, once we get this done, the remodeling there, is to have like a whole bunch of those all along the wall. So probably, I don't know, 6 or 7, maybe up to 8 spice racks, essentially, going all the way up. And that's what holds my cards there. And what I'm doing over here, because right now I have the other ones tiered in here, because I have more of these. And there's basically 3 tiers in each cubby here holding decks. And this is just temporary. And I'm getting a whole new unit here. We're getting rid of that, and we're going to get some drywall up there. And I'm going to have, this unit's going to go over here, and it's not going to hold cards. But I'm going to have another unit right there, or it's going to have ancestor stuff in there. And then under here, because I think that's going to go under here, and we're going to have 2 of those side by side. So there's going to be a flat top, and there's basically going to be the same thing here, like so about 8 of them going all the way up. So yeah, so that's the plan. That's kind of my ideal storage for my tarot, oracle, all that. And I have my Lenormand decks and also like some of the mini small ones in here. Yeah, and this is also a old spice rack, but it's kind of broken and stuff. So I want to get something a little better. All right, so yeah, that's the storage situation. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put these cards away for right now, and pull out another set to like look through as we're doing this. So the next question is all about my practice and how do I want to use tarot versus how I'm using it now. And before I start that, I've got to do my morning card pull here. So I'm going to pull out the Druid Animal Oracle deck, and I'm going to do some shuffles of this real quick. And this is just going to be my daily card for the day, since I haven't, since I haven't done it yet. I figured might as well do it on camera. So how fun is that? So this is for today, which is May 8th, which is actually my mom's birthday. So happy birthday, Mom. All right, so pulling a card for the day. We have Earth Dragon, which I have already pulled this a couple times. Actually, I pulled it once this month so far. And I have my notebook, here it is, to write that down. So we are in, and I did actually find the washi tape from my previous video. I found the washi tape, so I'll be able to finish this page. All right, so Earth Dragon, and I got that again here, so 2 days ago. So Earth Dragon. Earth Dragon. All right, there we go. Thanks for joining me for that. All right, so I'll put this away and grab a couple decks to go through. Okay, so I have the Whispers of Lord Ganesha here, and I'm going to put this in the middle. I don't have a bag for this yet, and yeah, so right now it's in the oversized box that it came in. So we'll put that in the center, and to go along with that, I have the Guardians of the Night Tarot, and this is the independent version from MJ Cullinane. And I quite love this deck, especially with Ganesha. Yeah, it's probably one of my favorites to work with Ganesha. I've got all these boxes everywhere. Okay, so thought I'd pull out some of my cards for one of the practices I'd been doing this year, as this question's all about my practice and what I want. And I actually wrote a whole bunch in regards to this question. Yeah, so what do I want out of tarot? So tarot for me, you know, it's mostly psychological. It really is. I mean, it's a psychological tool, using it for self-growth and self-reflection, things like that, which is very useful. I mean, tarot is something that's often used in things like therapy, and it's good for journal prompts, writing aids, whatever. I think my issue with using it for journal prompts is... you know, having a tarot journal, I like the idea of it and I like doing it. And I have my tarot journal right here. Just had to go grab it. Yeah, I have my tarot journal here and it's, really awesome. And, I like it. It's fantastic. But I find with this particular practice that I put in less... I don't put a whole lot of information in it. And I think it's because, I don't know, I feel like if I write something down, it's no longer, I don't know, it's less private. Does that make sense? Even though I don't really have any worries of people reading my diary or something, but I have had experiences with that in the past, like growing up, and where I had a diary and I put my innermost thoughts on paper, and that trust was violated, and my diary was read, and I was embarrassed, and I think that sort of thing is in my mind when it comes to writing down. Look at the colors in this. Writing down my thoughts, my innermost thoughts, my demons, my passing thoughts that don't have long-term, ramifications or whatever, it's just I think I have trouble doing that. So, so using it as a journal prompt isn't quite what I use it for, because my journaling when it comes to tarot is very minimal. I do quick sentences, and for that reason that I explained. So it is a psychological tool that's primarily, like when I'm doing tarot readings, a lot of times they're about my life, and I'm interpreting them. Even when I'm talking to deities or whatever, a lot of times I'm seeing my life situations in the cards. So yeah. So that a nice segue there. I also use it as a spiritual tool. So it's not just a psychological tool for me. It is there is a strong spiritual side to it. And so I would like to have tarot play a very active role in deity communication, or basically communing with various entities. So gods, the good people, the Dinama, ancestors. I would like to have a solid ancestor practice. I am a genetic genealogist by hobby, and so I would like to have a practice that really emphasizes that. So yeah, I mean, I would love to have a more solid like spiritual practice with my tarot cards, and a solid ancestor practice, deity practice, fae or the good people practice, etc. Yeah, So I want to have a regular way of doing things, and I have been trying to do that. These cards are kind of sticking together, and it's because of the temperature changes right now. The art in this is absolutely stunning, and man, I do love the Guardians of the Night tarot deck, with not just with this deck, but with Ganesha in general. But yeah, anyway. And I'm trying to incorporate that, and I've really been trying to focus my practice this year. Each month this year is dedicated to a deity, as you saw in my notebook here. Each month is dedicated to a deity. Let's see, open up the pages. Here we go. So the January was Ganesha. February was Bridge or Bridget. March was Angus. April was Rhiannon. We're currently in Ondagda for May. Then Anya for June. Caradwin for July. I love this page that I decorated here. Lou for August. Lakshmi for September. Aryanrod for October. On Morrigan for November, and Kaliak for December. So yeah, I mean, and you know, I do like to do a moon practice, so I have these set moon readings this year that I am getting like a little tired of. Like, we're in May now, so I've done 4 moon readings per month, and this is I am going to continue these readings for each of the moon readings this year. But yeah, it is starting to get slightly stale. So yeah, I don't, it is what it is when you have the same thing each month. So yeah, anyway, and then I have been doing the Venus and transits for this year, trying to incorporate some astrology in that, and that was started by Period Velvet here on YouTube. So I just found that as a fun practice to do. I could do once, maybe twice a month, as Venus transits through the different signs, and then going into the readings themselves. So like, I love having the tarot journals, and I have been really trying to focus my practice, but I will say sometimes it gets a little difficult because there's so many different things I want to study, and I only have a limited amount of time, and I'm a mom, and I've got other responsibilities going on. Yeah, anyway, so that's the spirituality side of things that I really want to hone in. I also want to use tarot as a divinatory practice, as a, month ahead or week ahead, or in very divinatory, fortune tellery kinds of ways, and combining it with other divinatory practices like pendulums, or scrying, or charm casting, etc. Like combining it with all sorts of different divinatory practices. So yeah, that is something I would like to do regularly. And one thing I would like to do is I'm gonna switch up some decks here. Okay, so I've pulled out 2 of the Green Glyphs decks. This is the Green Glyphs Tarot. This is the Green Glyphs Oracle. I also have the Lenormand and the Rune deck. And this is also by James R. Eads. This is the Cosma Visions. I always forget which one, because I have both Prisma and Cosma. This is Cosma Visions, right? Okay, so yeah, this is the Cosma Visions tarot, or oracle, technically. All right, let me pull all of these out. Okay, here we go. So one thing I really, really like is deck families, and using decks, especially decks that go together. Yeah, so, and while this deck doesn't necessarily go with the Green Glyphs, I love all the Green Glyphs cards together, and they're all the same size, and same backs, etc. So you can use them however, like completely mixing them all together, or whatever. But but the Cosmovisions isn't part of the green glyphs, but it's by the same artist. So I do kind of connect it with it sometimes, and sometimes I bring it into this little deck family, and I think this reading is pretty dang cool. But anyway, so yeah, and I'm bringing this out also to kind of talk about a little bit of a fantasy self here, because I love the idea of deck families. I love the idea of combining decks together, or, you know, doing readings where it's a bunch of different decks together like this. I mean, this is really fucking cool. But I would say in practice, I almost never do this. And I, you know, which isn't exactly true. I have been starting to do this more, but usually it's just like one oracle card and then like the tarot reading. You know what I mean? Or I might, like this year I haven't really been doing much Lenormand, but you know, I might do a Lenormand reading with 2 tarot cards on either side, or I don't know, something like that. Like I do that. It's just not as often as I would like. And I would like to do more deck family things, like doing readings where I have multiple decks out. And this is a total deck family. These decks I frequently bring out together. Like I really want to have Mars Power and the Rujin Cardo be a big be a deck family. This is a deck couple to me. I really like they're both newish decks to me, but I really like them together. And I love decks that are creators that do full-on systems, like James R. Eads does. I love this kind of stuff, where they come out with an artist's collection of decks. And I know it's a bit capitalist or whatever, and quite frankly, it works on me, that sort of thing. I am a sort of gotta collect them all sort of person, a little bit. But like, and you know, I'm not completely like that because, you know, I love a lot of MJ Cullinane's decks, but there's some that I'm like meh about, so I'm not going to force myself to get a deck that I'm meh about, you know? So, yeah, because like the Forhaxa Tarot, or however it's said, I'm actually not a fan of it, and that's a big favorite for a lot of people, but for me, it's just meh. I like the other decks I have by her more, honestly. But anyway, so I wanted to talk about that as a bit of a fantasy self and an inspiration for the future, that I would like to do more deck family type things and bringing out multiple decks for readings. And one thing I'd like to do is do specific readings for different times in my life. Like I would like to have a pretty regular menstrual tarot practice, and having a few decks dedicated to when I'm on my menstrual cycle, and pulling out readings for that. Yeah, I don't know. I think I would like to, my ideal tarot practice would involve more tarot and just kind of more random tarot, like pulling out decks just randomly, because I don't really do that. I really have like set purposes for when I pull out decks. And sometimes I feel like the interpretations for me can get a little lost or muddied or something when, I don't know, when I feel like I have to pull out a deck for this time or that time or whatever. I would like to have a more fluid and spontaneous practice. Yeah, but then at the same time, my brain sort of works in you know, I'm not like schedule-y, because, you know, that's not exactly right, but my brain works better when I have at least a little bit of a structure, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I'm just kind of looking at my notes here of things that I wanted to do with my tarot. Another thing, which I don't have decks out for this, but I'd like to have a more solid understanding of astrology, and have a solid astrology backing to my tarot practice. So yeah. All right. Oh, and I would also, I would like to, I do use tarot in Magic, but I'd like to use that a bit more. And I would like to get back into reading for others, which is something I used to do many, many, many years ago, like 10 plus years ago, and I kind of stopped doing that. But I do want to get back into reading for others. I just don't quite know where I want to start and how I want to do it. Anyway, so I'm going to move on to the next question, and I think I'll put these decks away. Okay, for the next one, I'm going to go through my Chinois Oracle here, along with, this is the Barkana Tarot. So I don't know why, I just was like, let's do these two. So they may not even go together, but we'll try it. We'll see. All right, here we go. This is kind of cool. Very interesting. This is, of course, one of my Japanese language decks. So yeah, and I pulled this out, and I paired it here with the Barkana Tarot because, I don't know, this is an RWS clone. It's dog based and it's super cute. It was a very limited run. There may still be some copies available, but as far as I know, the creator is only did one run of these. So it might, by the time you watch this, it might be out of print. But yeah, so it is what it is. All right. And I wanted to pull out one of my Japanese decks again because the next prompt, and I'm kind of combining these two because prompt 4 was tarot decks I want but don't have, and prompt 5 was oracle oracles I don't have but want. So I'm just going to combine that into one and just kind of just talk about decks in general that I want to curate for my collection, if that makes sense. And to kind of bring in what sort of collection I actually want. Yeah, because for quite some time I've been doing the deck collecting because I've been reading tarot for probably about 20 plus years. But I stopped reading for quite some time because I was a new mom. I had life stuff going on. I don't know. I like my spirituality, my occult practices, my tarot practices, kind of went on the wayside for quite some time, and and then in the past probably 3 or so years, it's really started to get back up there, and that's when I started buying a lot of decks, and my deck collection really boomed in the past 3 years. And now that I have done a lot of collecting, a lot of purchasing, a lot of buying, I have a wish list. In fact, I have that right here, which it's not comprehensive, but because I add to it as I remember things. So let's see. Oh, here's my current wish list right now. And I have up to 100 things I can add. So obviously I won't necessarily get all of these. And some of these I've already gotten this year, so I can go through and check off. But yeah, so I kind of want to just talk about how I want to curate my collection, because I have said lots of times in the past that I don't really do deck culling. I don't really do going through and getting rid of decks like a lot of people on YouTube do. I've just kind of learned that about myself, that if a deck comes into my collection, it's extremely unlikely that's going to leave. But now that I have so many decks and I have, this huge wish list, I may have to start getting rid of some of the decks that I really don't use or like, because there are some decks that I have that I actively dislike. So how do I want to curate my collection here? So I would like to get more Japanese decks. I've been learning Japanese for about 15 to 16 months now. And so it's it's becoming a very big part of my life. And I want to incorporate it with other aspects of my life, like tarot and spirituality and things like that. So I would really like to have more Japanese decks and be able to read these and know what message it's trying to say, because these are mostly names of not so much deities. So though some of it's just general Japanese mythology, mythological characters, and then there is a this that right here means symbol, so a symbol of blank. So it's got the name of the person down here, and then symbol of whatever it is a symbol of. So I think this is symbol of water because that's the kanji for water. So yeah. Yeah, it's a really nice deck. And I really quite love it. And so I would like a lot more Japanese decks. And in fact, just this morning I was searching for more Japanese decks. I have the Ryujin Kado. I've got the Shinwa Oracle. I've got my Bushido Oracle, which is very similar to this, so different art style. And it's same cardstock and size and stuff too. And I don't have bags for these yet. And I also have the Luna's Bear edition Beginner's Tarot, which is the titles are in English, but it's got keywords in Japanese, so that's also a Japanese deck. Yeah. So anyway, let me go put these away. So I would love to have more Japanese decks, and there's two others in this series that they come in bigger sizes but also smaller sizes, and I have the mini for this, so I would like to get the mini for the other two. Well, one of them's out of stock though, so I don't know when I'll be able to get those. So I'd like to get the set for this. You know, like I said, I like sets of things. I'm expecting the Yokai Tarot, not the independent version or the type, but the mass market one that is it's in French or Italian, and but then also has Japanese keywords on there. So I'm getting the French one with the Japanese keywords. So that's coming in. Oh, sorry about that. My voice cracked a little bit there. So yeah, I would like more Japanese decks. And in that same vein, I would like Irish decks and Irish language decks, because that's the other language. I've been learning Irish a lot longer than I've been learning Japanese. But it's funny though, I feel like I've progressed more in Japanese than I did Irish, and it might be because it's a little bit more difficult to learn a language that is less prevalent in the world than say Japanese. So yeah, I mean, that's been this struggle a bit, but it is important to me, and I would really like to have Irish language decks, and there aren't really any out there. I found one like years ago that it was straight up an RWS, like it was the original imagery and stuff. It's just the card names had them in Irish, except for like all of the pips and stuff. It didn't have any titles. So yeah, that's cool, but I don't know that I want something a bit different. So one thing I would really like is an Irish language, or ideally an Irish language, but a deck of Irish deities, very specifically Irish deities, and potentially written by a native Irish person. I've been thinking maybe I could potentially do artwork for said deck, and maybe find someone who's willing to collaborate with me on that, and we could create a deck of Irish deities. Because here's the thing with my with decks that have to do with deities, I'm very particular on how I do that. I don't really like multi-deity or multicultural deity decks. Which I don't know if that sounds weird. It's more that I don't like to have decks of deities that I don't have an active relationship with, if that makes sense. And so and then sometimes things might feel like a closed practice for me, and so I'm very mindful of that, I guess. And so there's a lot of decks out there that are multi-deity decks from different cultures that just yeah, because that European Gods and Goddesses deck, or European Goddesses deck that just came out, I'm actually not interested in it, because if it was a deck that just had Irish deities or just had Welsh deities even, maybe I would be interested in that. But because it's multicultural, and I understand why that is helpful for some people, but for me and the way that I do deity work in my practice, I view these deities as actual beings. So I don't know. It feels to me, I feel a disconnect when I try to incorporate deity cards of deities that I don't have any sort of relationship with. So like I have the Bifrost Oracle, and I didn't buy it. It just came in a subscription box, and it is a super, super cool deck. And like there's like 80 cards, and they have keywords on there, so I could use them as oracle cards and not just deity or mythology cards or whatever. But I find it difficult to use that deck because I don't follow any Norse deities. So it's just not part of my practice. So I don't know. But I keep that one for maybe a later thing. But anyway, so that's my thing about the Irish decks. I would really like more Irish focused decks, and not just general Celtic, but Irish specific. So in that same vein, one deck that is definitely on my wish list is the Wisdom of the Cailleach Oracle deck, and I am on the waiting list for that. I'm on the waiting list for that. The Cailleach is a deity, an entity that I am trying to form a relationship with. So whenever that is available, I'm gonna get that. So I would also like more the other decks from Six Sad Girls here. I have the Mars Power, and I know Rowan in their I'm not sure what pronouns they use. So I'm gonna say they. Rowan has the Star Power, I think, and was talking about getting the Moon Power. I want both of those. I want both the Star Power and the Moon Power, and because I just got this deck like a few weeks ago, and I absolutely love it. My voice is really starting to go out. So like the entire style of this deck, I fucking love. And if I get the other two decks in this series, I feel like I'll have like 3 of these and 3 of these, and that's perfect. I'm not interested in the Jupiter Power one, honestly. It's just Jupiter's my favorite planet too, and Jupiter is my favorite Sailor Moon character, Sailor Jupiter. But I don't like the style of that one. It just doesn't connect with me in the same way that Mars Power tarot does, and the other two, the Star and Moon ones that I'm interested in getting. So those ones I want. I am also interested in, I really want decks for like pathworking. So that's why I had the Tildwick on my list, and I was going to get that for March. But when I went to go check out on that, when you added in shipping, it was going to cost over $100 for me. And oh my God, that was just, it was too much, which really, really, really sucks. So right now, the Tildwick is a bit of a unicorn deck for me. I would really love to have it, but I'm just not quite willing to spend that money on it. But another deck that might work in that pathworking sort of vein is the Spacious Tarot, or other decks that have to do with a lot of like landscapes or open areas or something like that. That I feel like might really help with meditation specifically. So yeah, and I guess I'm going to try to wrap this up, but I wanted to add in here that another deck collection that I'm interested in is the ones by Taylor Bryn. So like the Ocean Tarot, and I think there's some sort of Earth Tarot that's out now, like Terra something, Arcanum, and then they're also going to do a water version, or well, not water, because that's the Ocean Tarot, but like an air version and a fire version, and I think the fire one is actually already out, but I would love to have all 4 of those. They're pretty pricey too, so those I would get 1 a year, and I meant to get the Ocean Tarot for April, but but honestly, I got the Mars Power instead. So yeah, but I do plan to get the ocean one this year. I'll get one of the other ones next year, and then yeah. So over the course of 4 years, I'll have that collection, and I'm interested in that. And I'm also interested in the Rain Shadow Tarot, along with the 2 oracles. I think one is called the Illuminated Earth, and one is called the Faceted Garden, something like that. Illuminated something, and I'll put the names on it in editing if I remember to do that. But yeah, I really like that style. It's very kind of grungy looking, but it feels almost old world. If that makes sense. And I know I'm not flipping through the cards, sorry. By the way, I gotta say, these actually looked really nice together. But anyway, yeah, I found as I've continued to grow my collection and curate my collection, that I really enjoy that sort of earthy, grungy sort of look to some of my decks. Yeah, so I have those on my list too of decks that I definitely want to get this year. So, I had a few others on this list, but I'm already more than 40 minutes into this. So I think I'm just going to end it here, and we'll call that a day. But I do want to mention, like I said at the beginning of this video, that this is a VR to the hashtag Aspirational Tarot, but it's also sort of a preface to a video that I'm going to have out in the coming week or two. And that is going to be my own hashtag, sort of. And I'm mentioning it here in case anyone else is interested in doing it. And I'm calling it hashtag Tarot Trimester. And it's kind of like a quarterly review, except it's triannual review. And so I'm just calling it the Tarot Trimester. So I'm going to do one here in May, and then I'm going to do another one, I think, in August, and then the final one in December. And it's kind of going to be a wrap up of the 4 months previous of my practice. And so if you are interested in doing a tarot trimester for May, August, and December, I would love to see your video on that. I'm going to have mine go up in about a week. So if you want to wait for mine, that's gonna be cool. But if you want to beat me to the punch, I guess I can't complain. And I am letting you know about it. So yeah, so if you do it first, then all right, just credit me. But yeah, so I will have my tarot trimester video up in about a week, and it's going to delve into how my practice, how I've been reining in my practice for this year so far, and my ideas going forth, and things I want to implement or change or whatever. So, all right, thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye.